All right, Shabbos, say good morning. Let's begin. Today's daf is from base 22. Our shir this morning is dedicated by Michael and Linda Elman, and the Zechus of Refuah Shalema for Ilan Yehuda ben Nina Bela. We hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah, Ilan together with Kol Chole Yisrael will have a complete and enduring refuah. Thank you and shkoyach. We'll say our shiurim this month are also dedicated by Leah's soul, and the Zechus of Refuah Shalema for her daughter, Ilana Bas Esther. We hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah, she will have a complete and enduring refuah together with Kol Chole Yisrael. So we'll say with that, let's begin. So remember again, we left off on Chaf Beis Amud Aleph 6 lines down from the top. But Tanakama. So we'll say, remember again, in yesterday's daf, we had a really interesting discussion about Olas Ha'of. And the concept ultimately, again, that Olas Ha'of as opposed to Chatas Ha'of. So again, we saw a variety of different, let me say it differently. We quoted the pasuk that says, Ves Hasheni Ya'as Ha'ola Kamishpat. So the idea being that Olas Ha'of, or we'll say, which again is offered up, remember again, Olas Ha'of, as opposed to Chatas Ha'of, Halacha L'maisa again has Shushech through 2 simanim, as opposed to Chatas Ha'of, which is only 1 siman. What we were focusing on yesterday is that word Kamishpat. Kamishpat indicates to us that the laws of Olas Ha'of seem to be learned out from some other pre-existing halachic construct. And we were discussing that we had a 3-way machlokes yesterday about trying to figure out from where do we learn out the halachos concerning Olas Ha'of. Is it learned out from Chatas Behima? Is it learned out from Chatas Ha'of? If learned out from Chatas Ha'of, which details are learned out from Chatas Ha'of, so on and so forth. So we had a 3-way machlokes about that. We're going to go back and examine some of those pieces today. So it says the Gemara, Tanakama. Let's remember again, the Tanakama was the first opinion who was quoted ultimately again in yesterday's daf. The Tanakama, V'chime achar denafkalon mi v'malak v'hikdir v'hikrivo lamli. So if you remember again, so the Tanakama ultimately again learned out his halacha. Remember again, the Tanakama said that we learn out, Kamishpat teaches me, that the laws of Olas Ha'of are learned out from Chatas Behema. Because what's the connection between Olas Ha'of and Chatas Behema? Because if a person can't afford to bring an animal, a Behema, as a Chatas, so for certain Averos, he has the ability to bring an Olas Ha'of instead. So being that the Olas Ha'of is the replacement for the Chatas Behema, therefore learn out halachas from Olas Ha'of from Chatas Behema. If that's the case, then what? So the Gemara says, so I'm just quoting to you from yesterday's daf for just a moment. Ima lahalan berov shnaim afkan rov shnaim. So we'll say this, therefore again, using that logic, you would say that just like a behema, it's enough if you cut through the majority of 2 simanim, but not the whole simanim. So too by Olas Ha'of, it should be enough if you cut through the majority of the 2 simanim, but you don't have to do the full 2 simanim. Therefore again, the pasuk says, Talmud lomar umalak vehiktir. Therefore, again, I'll say the Gemara Darshan Malak vehiktir. You do malika and burn the carbon. And the Gemara Darshan Mahaktara harosh be'atzmo v'aguf ba'atzmo af malika harosh be'atzmo v'aguf ba'atzmo. Just like Rabbi said, when you burn the Olas Ha'of, you burn the body and head separately. So too, when you do malika, you have to do malika in a way which separates the body and the head from one another in its entirety. So the Gemara says, V'tanakamo, v'chime achar denafgalon miva malak v'hiktir. Tanakama is supposed to say 6 lines down from the top on Chaf Beis Amud Aleph 22a. So Tanakama, now that we learned out from umalak v'hiktir, that's what? That halacha l'maisa, you cut through both the full 2 simanim, and the head is fully removed. V'hikrivo lamali. The Rebbe said, why do I need that pasuk of v'hikrivo, which everyone else was using to teach us that what? That you, as much as you're going to learn out the Olas Ha'of from some other construct, ultimately again, Olas Ha'of has its own unique details, to which the Gemara says, because ilav v'hikrivo, had the Torah not included this word of v'hikrivo, hava amina my kamishpat. I might have thought to say, what does it mean when it says kamishpat? Kamishpat chatas ha'of. I would have thought that it means in accordance with the laws of chatas ha'of. That ultimately, again, because I will say, think about this for just a moment. I would, if you're understanding the idea that we're learning out the halachos of chatas ha'of from somewhere else, the place it makes the most sense to learn it out from is where? sorry, I said that wrong. If we're teaching me that we learned out the halachos of Ola Sa'uf from some other construct, the most logical construct to learn out from is Chat HaSa'uf, because they're both bird offerings. Therefore, again, the word Kamishpat, my Kamishpat, Chat HaSa'uf. Therefore, again, Abosai, ultimately, again, V'hikrivo means that, no, I'm not going to learn out the halachos of Ola Sa'uf from Chat HaSa'uf. V'im Yishum Umalak V'hiktir. And I will say again, had I just relied on the drasha of Umalak V'hiktir, Hava Amina, I might have said, Mahaktara Berosh Osham Mizbeach. Just like Rabbi say, the Haktara, the offering is done on the top of the Mizbeach. Af Malika Berosh Osham Mizbeach. I would have thought Rabbi say, again, this is the potential drasha I could have made over here. So to Malika should also be done at the top of the Mizbeach. Therefore, the Gemara says, Hashta the Kasav Rachmana V'hikrivo, Darish Be Nami Ha. Now that the Torah went ahead and darshan v'hikrivo, you're able to make these other drashos as well. Take a look at Rashi just a moment. Hashta d'chsev v'hikrivo al karachach akre minei. We'll say once it says v'hikrivo, that goes ahead and uproots the ability to darshan the other ways. Therefore, again, al karachach akre minei d'chiluk lagamre mashma le'tanakama d'lo tigmar minei klal. Ultimately, again, do not learn out any of the halachos of chatas ha'of, olas ha'of, from chatas ha'of, v'ok me'achatas behemo. And ultimately, again, learn it out the halachos of olas ha'of from chatas behemo. U'mehashta darish me'v'malak v'hikter de lagamri iske shaktar le'malika, bein le'inyan rosh shal mizbeach, bein le'inyan rosh ba'atzmo v'haguf ba'atzmo. Good. So the Gemara says, so we'll say, so that is the drasha of the Tanakama. Now we're taking a step back for just a moment. So if you remember again, in the first part of the drasha of the Tanakama, so remember again, the pasuk said that we learn out when we said kamishpat, right? That when the pasuk said ve'esasheni ya'as sa'ola kamishpat. When it comes to ola sa'of, so the pasuk says you shall do the ola sa'of kamishpat in accordance with the rules or with the mishpat, with the law. So the law of what? So according to the Tanakama, it's the laws of chatas behema. We learn out the halachos of ola sa'of from chatas behema. The Gemara said, what halachos of ola sa'of do I learn out from chatas behema? So the Gemara gave three things. Number one, eino ba'ela min Chullin, that ultimately, again, the carbon of ola sa'of could only come from Chullin, meaning unconsecrated animal. Number two, bayom, it could only be offered up by day. And number three, biyado hayimanis, can only be done with the right hand. So the Gemara says weiter, chatas behema, de'eno ba'a ela min Chullin mila. Rabbi said, from where do we know that chatas sa'of can only come from, that chatas behema can only come from Chullin? Where do we know that from? So the Gemara says, Amrav Chista de Amar Kra. So remember again, the Gemara, just to understand, kamishpat was coming to equate ola sa'of with chatas behema. It's according to Tanakama. Just like chatas behema has these three qualities, so too olas ha'of has these three qualities. What are the three qualities? It can only come from Chullin, it can only be offered up by day, and has to be offered up with the right hand of the Kohen. So now we'll say, now that we said that, we're trying to figure out, okay, from chat, where do you know that these ideas apply to chatas behema? To which the Gemara says, I'll tell you where. So number one, Chullin. How do I know that a chatas behema has to come from unconsecrated funds? Amrav Chista de Amar Kra, v'hikriv Aaron es par hachatos asher lo. Because we'll say by Yom Kippur, the Torah says that Aaron shall offer up the par hachatos, right, which is the chatos par asher lo, which belongs to him. What do we darshan from that? Mishalo, v'lo mishal tzibor, v'lo mishal meiser. Ultimately, I will say mishalo means that the chatos comes from Aaron's own money, not from communal funds and not from Meiser Sheni funds. And we'll say, understand, the novelty over here is that although Meiser Sheni funds in many respects are like my own money, in that again, I have the absolute right to use it, to spend it, but because it has limitations on it, i.e. usage in Yerushalayim, it is not really considered to be fully my funds. Fine. So the Gemara says, Bayom, from where do we learn out bayom from? Right? Where do we learn out that it has to be done by day? To which the Gemara says, Mi bayom tzavso nafka. So the Gemara says, ultimately again, we learn that out. Do we not learn that out from the phrase biyom tzavaso? right? So we'll say, look at Rashi for just a moment. Mi bayom tzavason nafka, lama le milfa mechatos behema habakulu karbanos tzir. We'll say, so the Gemara's shiloh over here is you're making it sound like the obligation to offer up the carbon by day is something unique by chatos behema. But in fact, we learn out the obligation to bring karbanos by day from the phrase biyom tzavaso, which sounds like what? The obligation to bring a carbon by day exists by all karbanos. It's not unique by chatos behema. So why are you framing it as something unique by chatos behema? To which the Gemara says, you're right. Look at Rashi again. Biyom tzavaso nafka. Lama le milfa mechatas behema habakulu karbanos ksiv biyom tzavaso lahakriv demashma bayom v'lo b'layla v'chala karbanos masha. Why are you phrasing this as a specific and unique obligation or criteria by chatas behema when in fact ultimately it applies to all karbanos? To which the Gemara says, you're right. Kadei nasba. We'll say kadei nasba means the Gemara is just bringing this up in passing. Einach you are correct. This is not unique to chatas behema. It applies to all karbanos. Yado hayimanis. Rabbi say, from where do I know that the carbon, remember again, chatas behema, the Gemara suggested, has to be offered up with the right hand. From where do I know that? Midirabba bar chana nafka. We'll say, I learned it from Rabbi Bar Chana. What does Rabbi Bar Chana say? Damar Rabbi Bar Chana, Amar Rab Shimon Lakish, Kol makom shene'emar etzbo akuhuna, eno ela yamin. We'll say anywhere the Torah uses lashon of etzba or kuhuna, ultimately again that always refers to the right hand. We'll say if you look at Rashi quotes the Gemara Maseches Menachos. We learn this sugya. Kol makom shene'emar etzba kuhuna umokmina parakama de Menachos o etzba o kuhuna v'gamra memitzora ani dichsiv bei v'taval hakoin etzba o hayimanis. Uminei yafinan l'chal heicha dichsiv koin o etzba shetehe avoda biyamin uba'olas l'dav ksiv koin v'garagas. We'll say, so again, this drasha Maseches Menachos based on the section of mitzora, right? And therefore we darshan from there that wherever it says etzba or koin, that always refers to the right hand. V'idach, and I will say the other opinion, right? V'idach, kuhuna baya etzba, etzba lo baya kuna. Both say the other opinion will say kuhuna by itself doesn't mean right, unless of course it is modified with the word etzba. But etzba by itself always means right. So kuhuna requires etzba in order to show you that it requires the right hand. Etzba by itself does not require a modifier in order to mean the right hand. V'tanakama v'Rabbi Eliezer. So we'll say fine. So the Gemara says v'tanakama v'Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon mimul ha'oref minalo. We'll say, from where do we know that malika takes place specifically for the olas ha'of, takes place on the back of the neck? Where do they learn it? So Rabbi say, remember, Tanakama learns that out ultimately again from the drasha of umalak v'hiktir. Right? So where do the Tanakama and Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Shimon learn out that malika has to take place from the back of the neck? Gamri malika mi malika. They have, I will say, Gzer Shava of malika from malika, actually a mematzinu. Rashi says they learn out malika of olas ha'of from malika of chatas ha'of. Just like the malika of chatas ha'of is done from the back of the neck, so too the malika of olas ha'of is also done from the back of the neck. Look at Rashi. Gamri malika mi malika. B'mematzinu ma malika hamura b'chatos. Perish lecha kasov mul oref, af kol malika eno ela mimul oref. Just like the malika for the chatos of Rabbi is done on the back of the neck, so too the malika on the olas ha'of is done from the back of the neck as well. Beautiful. Weiter. So I'll say now that we talked about birds a little bit, we're going to focus on birds a little bit more. So it's interesting because we're going on a little bit of a tangent here. We were kind of fully immersed in the topic of shchita, so now we're getting just a little bit sidetracked with karbanos of birds. We're going to come back to shchita, of course, and the Gemara says as follows: kasher b'torin, pasel b'bnei yonah. So we'll say when it comes to birds, there are two primary birds that are permitted for carbonic use: torin, which we translate as turtle doves, and b'nei yonah, which we translate as pigeons, or specifically as we'll see, young pigeons. Turtle doves and pigeons. So watch this. Kasher b'torin, that which is kasher for turtle doves, pasel b'bnei yonah. Ultimately, again, is pasel for pigeons. Again, we'll discuss this. B'bnei yonah, pasel b'torin, that which is good for young pigeons, right, is pasel ultimately again for turtle doves. Tchila satzihuv, but ultimately, it literally means the beginning of the yellowing of the feathers. Bazeh ubazeh puzzle will ultimately again be invalid, both for Torah and turtle doves as well as for Bnei Yonah, for pigeons. We'll also take a look at Rashi for just a moment. Tchilas, it's about 7 lines up from the bottom on the Rashi. Tchilas atziyuv shebazeh v'shebazeh puzzle. So Rashi says Tchilas atziyuv. So we'll say, so apparently as we're going to see, one of the signs of physical maturation, both for the Torah and Bnei Yonah, is when the feathers around the neck begin to turn yellow. So Rashi says over here, L'tzara psulin bazeh ubazeh, v'kach mefarish b'gemara, t'bnei Yonah psulin mishum golon, u'b'torah mishum katnan. So we're going to see that ultimately, again, although Torah and Bnei Yonah ultimately have separate halachas, but yet, interestingly enough, for both of them, when the feathers around the neck begin to turn yellow, that represents a psul for both types of birds. Good. Says the Gemara, Tana Abanah. So let's analyze this. Torin gidolim ksherin kitana psulim. So also when it comes to Torin, turtle doves, only mature turtle doves are fit. Right, adult, we'll call it adult ones. Gidolim, large, doesn't mean large, really means mature. So mature turtle doves are fit. Kitanim psulim. The immature ones are not fit. Right, our puzzle. Conversely, Bnei Yonah, kitanim ksherim. I will say when it comes ultimately again to pigeons, so only young pigeons are kosher. Gidolim psulim. Mature pigeons are not kosher. Therefore, says the Braisa, Nimtza kasher b'torin pasal b'bnei Yonah, kasher b'bnei Yonah pasal b'torin. Therefore, also the interesting dynamic over here is that which is kasher, right, by turtle doves is pasal by pigeons. That which is kasher by pigeons is pasal by turtle doves. Good. So we'll say, so again, the point over here to remember is that when it comes to the Torah and the turtle doves, only mature turtle doves are fit for sacrificial use. The young ones are not. By the pigeons, ultimately, again, the young ones are fit. Ultimately, again, the older ones are, the mature ones are not. We'll say the simple way to remember the distinction, as we're going to see this in the Gemara, is that the Bnei Yonah, the pigeons, are always referred to as Bnei. Right? The Gemara is going to discuss this. We never refer to Yonim themselves. It's always Bnei Yonah. Ultimately, again, that's the way to remember. The young ones are kosher, the mature ones are not. Versus again, the Torah and the turtle doves, which are not, do not have the Bnei attached to it. Good. So let's analyze this. Ten Rabbanon. So the Gemara says, Ten Rabbanon. Torim gidolim v'lo kitanim. So we'll say, so the halacha is, you could only use mature turtle doves for sacrificial purposes, and not young ones. So the Gemara says, now we'll say the Gemara is going to make a couple of kal v'chomers, which at first glance are not going to be all that compelling. We're then going to go ahead and kind of put the meat on the bones for it afterwards. Here we go. Shiyachol. Because we'll say the Gemara says as follows. I would have thought the following was possible. V'halo dinhu, Amud Beis. V'halo dinhu, Uma b'nei Yonah, shelo huchshuru b'gidolim huchshuru b'ktanim. So we'll say when it comes to b'nei Yonah, right, young pigeons, shelo huchshuru b'gidolim. So we'll say again, mature pigeons are not fit. Huchshuru b'ktanim. Yet what? Yet interestingly enough, so young pigeons are fit. Torim shehuchshiru b'gidolim. So therefore, we'll say I would have thought that when it comes to turtle doves, which are fit when they are mature, eino din shehuchshiru b'ktanim. They certainly should be fit when they're young. So we'll say what's interesting about this is as follows. The havamina over here is that I would have thought that a younger bird is more chashiv than an older bird. So I would have thought as follows. If at the end of the day, Bnei Yonah, which are not good as Gidolim, are fit as Kitanim, so certainly Torim, which are fit as Gidolim, they certainly should be fit as Kitanim as well. Talmud Lomar, therefore the Pasuk says, Talmud Lomar, Torim, Gidolim, Velo Kitanim. Therefore, we'll say the Gemara Darshins, the pasuk says Torim, right? Torim. It says you could use turtle doves, and we darshan from that Gidolim v'lo kitanim, only adult ones and not young ones. I will say now how you get Gidolim v'lo kitanim from just that word Torim is not clear. That's why Rashi already points out over here. The Kamei Mafarish Mai Talmuda. We'll discuss exactly what the meaning. I don't understand from the word Torim. How do you know that Torah means adult turtle doves and not young ones? We'll see that in just a moment. B'nei Yonah, kitane v'lo gidolim. So we'll say when it comes ultimately again to pigeons, you could only use young pigeons and not mature pigeons. So the Gemara says, Shiyachol, because I might have thought the following, V'halo dinhu, because I could have made the kal v'chomer. What's the kal v'chomer? Uma torim shelo hochshuru b'kitanim, hochshuru b'gidolim. We will say, when it comes ultimately again to turtle doves, that are not fit when they are young, yet they are fit when they get older, when they become more mature. B'nei Yonah shuchshuru b'kitanim, enodin shuchshuru b'gidolim. So we'll say, if that's the case again, pigeons that are fit when they're young should certainly be fit when they're older. Talmud lomar b'nei Yonah. Therefore, we'll say the pasuk says what? B'nei Yonah v'lo gidolim. I'm sorry, kitanim v'lo gidolim. Only young pigeons, but you cannot use older pigeons. Good. So it says the Gemara, my Talmuda. What are you talking about? Look at Rashi just a moment. My Talmuda. Kilomar me'izim mikra anu lemeidim nehinami dibnei mashma kitanim miu ikuva minolan delomar binam gidlam kalachor. So Rashi points out something very important here. I understand already, at least from the pigeon's perspective, that the Torah is employing the use of the word b'nei. So that could definitely help me understand that halacha l'maisa, again, when it comes to the pigeons, that I could use young pigeons. But I will say, remember again, telling me that I can use young pigeons versus telling me that I must use young pigeons are two different discussions. So the only thing I emerge with from this discussion is that ultimately, again, I can use young pigeons. That doesn't tell me that I can't use mature pigeons. And when it comes to the Torah and the turtle doves, it doesn't tell me about old or young. So that's the Gemara says, my Talmuda, what's the drasha you're making over here? So here we go. Amar Rav says, I'll tell you what's going on over here. Lo nishtamit kra, v'lichtov min b'nei hatorim o min Yonas. We'll say, look at Rashi's moment that will define this phrase. Lo nishtamit kra, isakadai tchag gidolam na miksher mikol hanach kroi dimishtav bikinin, kigon haydin adava, ubishmias kol, ubioledes, ubezav, ubezav mesora. Lo lishtamit. So we'll say, remember again, Rashi just quoted over here all the different places in the Torah where we find bird offerings, right? So, karban nedava, shmias kol, yoledes, zov, zova, metzora. So, lo lishtamit chadkra dinichtov min b'nei hatorim o min hayona. So we'll say, listen to this. The formulation, every single time the Torah speaks about a bird offering, is always the same. It always uses the lashon of torim and b'nei Yonah. That's always the way it's written, Torim and b'nei Yonah. So what Rav is saying over here is as follows. If the age really didn't matter, right? Or I should say, if the age wasn't li'ikuva, right? If the age wasn't ma'akiv, then what? At least one time when the bird offering is mentioned, how should you write it? B'nei Torim and Yonah. In other words, just go ahead. All you need to do is just switch it up at least once, right? Or only once. And what that tells me is that even though normally I'll find b'nei associated with Yonah, so it could be that when it comes to pigeons, young pigeons are more preferable. But since you find it also says b'nei Torim, what it's really telling me is any kind of pigeon and any kind of turtle dove is okay. The fact that it always writes it with the same exact formulation in every single context when the bird offering is mentioned, it is always Torim, turtle doves, and B'nei Yonah. So the say the Gemara understands that's teaching me specific halacha. And what that's telling me is that if say now again, remember they build off each other. B'nei Yonah, I understand what that means. B'nei Yonah means a young pigeon. Now, if B'nei Yonah means a young pigeon, that must mean that what? That an unqualified Torim must mean what? Must mean what? A mature turtle dove. So the Gemara says, "My Talmud Amar Rabba lo l'shtamit kra v'lichtov min B'nei HaTorim o min Hayona." Right? Ultimately, again, let one time the pasuk just go ahead and say B'nei Torim. Let it use the word B'nei ultimately in front of turtle doves and not in front of pigeons. And then I would have thought that again the age doesn't really matter. So the Gemara says, "I ema B'nei Yonah the kasav b'hu rachmana B'nei ketanim in Gidolim lo. So we'll say, so fine. So now we'll say, so now I understand what the drasha is. Now I understand the drasha is the fact that it always appears the same way. It always says Bnei Yonah, Torim and Bnei Yonah, that's coming to teach me that ultimately, again, the pigeons must be young and the turtle doves must be mature. To which the Gemara says, well, maybe not. Maybe there's a different way to understand the drasha. Ema, Bnei Yonah, the kasu barachmana, Bnei Ketanim in, Bnei Ketanim in Gidolim lo. So we'll say, okay, when it comes to Yonah, when it comes to the pigeons, I got it. Torah always uses the lashon of Bnei, which teaches me that what? They must be young. And I understand must be young to the exclusion of mature pigeons. You cannot use mature pigeons, you can only use young pigeons. But why don't I say that when it comes to Torah, when it comes to the turtle doves, I by Gedolim Laisi, I by Kitanim Laisi. See, I will say, I only know that Bnei Yonim means ultimately young pigeons. When it comes to the turtle doves, which are just written as Torim, I will say maybe that means young if I want or old if I want. In other words, how do I know that unqualified Torim only means mature? To which the Gemara says, I'll tell you, Dumya de Bnei Yonah. Because I will say, remember again, Torim and Bnei Yonah become a grouping. And just like, well, Dumya de Bnei Yonah, Man Bnei Yonah, Kitanim in Gedolim lo. We'll say just like Bnei Yonah, ultimately again, it is the young ones. Right, Kitanim in Gedolim lo, only young pigeons, not older ones. Aftorim Gedolim in Kitanim lo. So to ultimately again, when it comes to Torah, we'll say only older ones, not younger ones. Which we'll say is another way of saying what? That once Bnei is always attached to Yonah, to right Bnei Yonah, then I will say that tells me that unqualified Torim means it has to be adult. Good. So that's the drasha we're working with so far. If it always says Bnei Yonah, it means it always has to be young pigeons, and therefore Torim by definition becomes mature turtle doves. Good. Tan Rabbanan. Yochel Yehu Kol HaTorim V'chol Bnei Yonah Ksherim. So we'll say another brisa. I might have thought that all turtle doves and all types of pigeons are kosher for sacrificial purposes. Talmud Lomar Min HaTorim. Therefore, the pasuk says from the turtle doves, which teaches me what? Min hatorim v'lo kol hatorim. Right? Not all turtle doves are fit for use. Min bnei hayona, we'll say from the pigeons, v'lo kol bnei hayona, v'lo kol bnei yona, and not all of the pigeons. So we'll say, what does this come to exclude? Prat l'tchilas hatzihuv shebazeh v'shebazeh pasal. So we'll say, interesting enough, this brisa is coming to add something else. This brisa is coming to exclude a different case. Remember again, we saw, number one, what we establish is that the fact that the Torah always uses the same formulation of Torim and Bnei Yonah teaches me that Bnei Yonah is specific. Only young pigeons. If Bnei Yonah is coming to limit only young pigeons, then Torah is coming to limit what? Only mature turtle doves. Now another brisa. Min ha-Torim, min Bnei Hayona, that I will say even in these respective groupings, there is a type of bird that will not be fit for either type of carbon. And what is that? Tchilas hatzihuv. When the neck feathers begin to yellow. When the neck feathers begin to yellow, ultimately again, that is possible both by pigeons as well as by turtle doves. Look at Rashi just a moment. Tchilas hatzihuv, kishamaschilin letzayiv knafayim, shesavivos tzavaram. We'll say when the neck feathers begin to go ahead and turn yellow, psulim bazeh bazeh. Now, what's interesting about this is as follows. Why is that? We're going to get into this more. We'll look at Rashi. The yatsu michlal kitanim, v'nifslu b'mnei Yonah, u'lechlal gidolim lo bo sheyichshru b'torim. So let's listen to this. Interestingly enough, when the neck feathers begin to turn yellow, it's like nishtahin nishtaher. In other words, that what happens? You're no longer young, right? Therefore, again, for Bnei Yonah, you no longer qualify as Bnei Yonah, but ultimately, again, you're also not what? You're also not mature. It's kind of like 40, you're not so old, but you're also not young anymore, right? So we'll say so that's what's happening over here. So therefore, when the neck feathers become yellow, so again, I'll say if you're a Ben Yonah, you've aged out. You're no longer considered Bnei, right? But if you're Torim, ultimately, again, if you're a turtle dove, then halacha l'maisa, you're not old enough. Okay, we're going to get into this more. To which the Gemara says, okay, so we'll say, so now, let's ask a different question. We'll say, now that we've established, right, and again, the good part over here is actually no one's arguing, right? It's nice, right? Everyone's agreeing that halacha l'maisa, Yonah are only fit for sacrificial service when they are young, and Torim have to be mature. Now, we'll say, and now I also know that what? When the neck feathers turn yellow, that's not good for either category. But now, okay, let's discuss when these respective birds actually become fit for service. So the Gemara says, so we'll say, when it comes to the turtle doves, remember they have to be adult, mature turtle doves. At what point in time is the turtle dove considered to be mature, adult, and therefore fit for sacrificial use? To which the Gemara says, Misheyas hivu. Ultimately, again, when Rashi says, Shiehei kanfei gufan gidolim va'adumim umasivim kizav. Ultimately, I will say, when their feathers are fully grown and almost have like a reddish, goldish hue to them. So when they develop into their full coloration. So that's the sign of maturity. But not necessarily size, because I guess the turtle doves come in all different sizes. But when the feathers come into their full coloration, Gemara calls that when they become golden. But Rashi is lavdafka golden. Rashi is adumim umasivim kizav. They become reddish with like a golden-like hue. Okay. So as I say again on the flip side, so now that's the threshold. So Torim only are fit when they reach this threshold of maturity. On the flip side, we'll say at what age, at what point in time do pigeons age out? Right? When do they age out from sacrificial service? Misheyatzivu. So we'll say that's when the neck feathers become golden. When the neck feathers begin to change color, ultimately again that's when the pigeons can no longer be used. Tani Yaakov Karcha. So we'll say, so now what we've established is here's what we know. We know ultimately again that the Torim, the turtle doves become fit for use when their feathers become fully colored, right? What the Gemara calls Misheyasiv, when they become golden. We know that ultimately again the pigeon becomes unfit for use when its neck feathers turn golden. Now what we want to know is at what age do the Bnei Yonah become fit for use? Remember again, Bnei Yonah can only be used for sacrificial service when they're young. But how young? At what point in time do they become fit? Maybe we say Bnei Yonah ksherim, misheyalu. Misha or misheyalu, yeah, Misha. So the Gemara says misheyalu. So what does it mean, misheyalu? We'll see what that means in just a moment. Rashi is kiddush farsh lekamei. Misheyalu. What does that mean? So the Gemara says, Hu tanalav hu amarla efrochav ya'alu dam. Ultimately, again, it's young chicks. Sheyalu dam. Now let's say, now what does that mean? I remember again, Ya'alu dam Amra Abaye. What does this mean? Mechishamit gat famine va'asidama. Both say that the chick has to be old enough, mature enough, that if you pull out a feather, it will bleed. So I guess again, when it's first born, ultimately again, I guess the blood is not fully dispersed throughout the body. So only once it becomes mature enough that if you pull a feather out of it, that it bleeds, then it's mature enough ultimately to be used for sacrificial services. So by Reb Zera, so we'll say, so Reb Zera has the following kasha. So we'll say, so now what we have is as follows. When it comes to the Bnei Yonah, when it comes to the pigeons, so we'll say ultimately again it becomes fit for use when? Fit for use when? When it's mature enough that if you pull out a feather, it begins to bleed. It becomes unfit when? When the neck feathers become golden. When it comes to the Torah and the turtle doves, ultimately again they become fit when they become fully colored, right? For a full coloration. Now at what point they become unfit, we'll discuss in just a little bit. But I will say both Bnei Yonah and Torim are both unfit when? At that moment that the neck feathers ultimately again become golden, right? Become yellowed. But I will say, because again for the Ben Yonah, it's no longer young, and for the Torim it's not yet mature. To which the Gemara leads more to a very interesting question. So by Rabbi Zera, Haomer Harei Alai Ola Min Atorim Omin Bnei Hayona. Well, so listen to this. If a person says, I hereby take upon myself to go ahead and bring a bird offering, right? An Ola from turtle doves or from pigeons. Now look at Rashi just a moment. Min Atorim Bnei Hayona. Me'ezim and Sheir say, Vehevi Mishtehen. So let's listen to this. And what happens? So I decide I want to bring an Ola, and I'm leaving my options open. I either want to bring it from the turtle doves or from the pigeons. So what do? I bring two birds. So I bring both a turtle dove and a pigeon. So look at Rashi. Vehevi mishnehen tchila satzihuf. Supposed to now the interesting part is what kind of bird am I bringing? So ultimately again, we'll look at Rashi for just a moment. Rashi says, look at Gemara. I'm sorry. I hereby take upon myself an olah, and I'm bringing it either from a tar or from bnei yonah, either from a pigeon or from a turtle dove. So what do? I bring a pigeon whose neck feathers began to turn yellow, right? And I brought a turtle dove whose neck feathers began to turn yellow. Mahu. Rabbi say, what is the halacha? Do I fulfill my obligation or not? So Rabbi say, now watch this. Sveika havi v'nafik. Rabbi say, now watch this. But the Gemara is essentially asking such a fascinating question. Do we say that when the neck feathers turn yellow, it's a suffix. Is the bird mature or not? Or do we say, oh Dilma, beri havi v'lo nafik? Or Rabbi say, maybe just a bird with yellow neck feathers is just a different animal, and therefore not fit for sacrificial use. So we'll say, what's the nafkamina between these two approaches? Very exciting. What's the nafkamina? The nafkamina is, if it's a suffix, then what? Then I'm yotze the carbon. Why, Rabbi say? Because mimanav shach, it's got to work one way or the other. Right? If you want to say that ultimately, again, when the bird develops yellow feathers around its neck, it's considered mature. Fantastic. Then what? Then ultimately, again, the turtle dove offering, will work. If on the other hand you say that no, when it has yellow feathers, it's immature, it's still young, then great. Then what? Then the ben yonah will work. So you will say, I'm covering my bases by bringing both a turtle dove and a pigeon. On the other hand, if you say that no, a bird with yellow neck feathers is just a beria bifnei atzma. It's just a separate type of animal. Then what Rabbi say? It's quite possible that either way it does not work, and therefore I've not been yotzei the carbon. Take a look at Rashi just a moment. So I bring two birds, a turtle dove and a pigeon, both with yellow neck feathers. Mahu yotzi de midra olo. Have I fulfilled my neder to bring an ola or not? So I'll say, if you want to say that the issue with yellow neck feathers is that it's a suffix, is it old or is it young? Then if that's the case, mishum sveika hilchach hanoder term lo yotza shemektanim heim v'hanoder b'nei yonah lo yotza shemegdolim heim avazesh nader eze sheyirtze v'hevi shnehem yotza mimanav shach. Im gedolim heim yotze mishum torim, v'im kitarim heim yotze mishum b'nei yonah. So we'll say again, if it's a suffix case, if a bird with yellow feathers is a gadol or a katan, then the good news over here is if I'm bringing both a pigeon and a turtle dove, then what? I'm covered. On the other hand, Rashi says, O Dilma, lo gidol minu, v'lo kitanim havu, ela beria ba'alma havu, diyotza mechla kitanim, uchla gidol labo. I will say the other possibility is that no, a bird with yellow neck feathers is just a beria b'fnei hatzma. It's not a gadol, it's not a katan, it's just something in the middle. Therefore, we'll say if that's the case, then I will not have been yotzei my carbon as well. To which the Gemara says, Amar Rava Tashma. Let's analyze this. Prat l'tchila satziv shebazeh v'shebazeh pasul. We'll say, what did the Brisa and both the Mishnah say? Both the Brisa and the Mishnah said that when the neck feathers begin to turn yellow, ultimately, again, both for the tar, the turtle dove, as well as for the bnei yonah, the young pigeons, it is pasul. I amrit bishlama ber yahavi. So say, if you want to say that Chazal are just looking at a bird with yellow neck feathers as what? As just its own independent beria, then Shapir, then ultimately I understand the statement of the Brisa and of the Mishnah. It's just pasul. Avi amrit sveika havi, it's tirich kra lemeute sveika. But ultimately, you're going to say, but if it's a suffix, do I need a pasuk ultimately again? Because let's remember again the Gemara Darshan from Min, right? Min. Do I need a pasuk ultimately again to tell me that you can't bring a suffix? You can't bring a suffix carbon. You can't bring a suffix oath. To which the Gemara says, "You're right." Top of Chav Gimel. Ki itztirchra lemeute nirva v'ne'avad. We'll say if that's the case, the truth is you would require the pasuk of min, right? When it says min b'nei yonah, min atorim, coming to exclude certain birds. Which bird would it be coming to exclude? Be coming to exclude the bird which was sodomized, or the bird which was worshipped as avodah zarah. Take a look at Rashi for just a moment. Tap Rashi and Chav Gimel Amud Aleph. Lemiute nirva v'ne'evad ve'af agav de Tanakama prat letchilas atziyuv asmachta ba'amohu. We'll say in reality, ultimately, again, if it's a case of, if we understand that the yellow neck feathers is a case of suffix, I don't need a pasuk to exclude suffix. It's obviously that you can't bring a bird that is in a state of suffix as a carbon. In which case, again, really the pasuk is coming to teach me the olam psulayim mishum sveika. Rova v'leka. So we'll say ultimately, again, really the pasuk of min is coming to exclude nirva and ne'avad. The suffix is excluded even without the pasuk, and the pasuk is just an asmachta. So we'll have to stop over here for today. But Amir Tzim, we're going to pick up with the rest of this discussion tomorrow. So remember, again, we leave off with this very interesting machlokes. At the end of the day, Rabbi said, we know that a bird with yellow neck feathers cannot be used for a carbon. The shaila is it a suffix and therefore excluded, or is it a beria bifnei atzma therefore excluded? Amir Tzim to be continued tomorrow.